This video will show you how to do the pen tool practice assignment in Google Classroom. So the first thing we're going to do is click on these three dots, say open a new window, and then we will download the pen tool practice file. We're going to go to Adobe Illustrator, and we're going to go to open or file open. So we'll click on that file there, and now we can start using the pen tool. So we're essentially going to be tracing these shapes. Grab the pen tool here, and we'll just start out by clicking around the outside edge. Make sure you're in Adobe Illustrator, by the way, not Photoshop. Okay. All right, there's our first shape. I recommend changing the color here. So let's just change it to maybe blue. And you're welcome to have a stroke, but you don't have to. That's just your outline. Okay. The triangle is probably the easiest one we have. And now we'll do the star. So we're just clicking on the points where those lines are meeting. Don't worry if it looks like it's going on the outside. It's just because it's trying to figure out where you want the color to go. I'm trying to get it as close as I can, but I can always use the adjustments, the direct selection tool. This is a good point of where that might happen, where you're like, wait, where do I go? So feel free to go ahead and just kind of click an approximate guess, and then click on that last one. So the last anchor point will always be that first point you already laid down. Grab your direct selection tool, and then you can adjust that point. So I just clicked and dragged that over, and now it's been fixed. Now we're going to do the circle. With the circle, we're going to do this in 4 points. So I'm going to start at the top, and then the next part here, we have to curve it. So instead of just clicking, I'm going to click and hold with my mouse. So we get that curve as close as I can to that curve there. The next one, it's going to kind of give me an automatic curve. So I'll go ahead and click down here. It's across from that one there. And it's okay if it's a little bit off. We're just getting it as close as we can. And then there's that one. Again, if you need to adjust any points, you can just click on the anchors, move them around as needed. You can also move your handles, which those are going to kind of create distortion depending on which way you want it to go. So we want it straight up and down right now for the most part, but in some instances you might want to adjust that to perfect your shape. So these three look really good. Next, we're going to move on to the S shape. Start wherever you want. Pay attention to where things are curved, which there's pretty much a million curves here. I'm going to try and get it as close to the edge as possible. I'm going to zoom in a little bit here. Let's go to 100%. There we go, just so we can see it a little better. Zooming in is really going to help you with this too. Oops, I lost my anchor. So that happens where you lose your anchor. Just click on the last anchor you used, and then it'll pick up where you left off. There we go. Let's do something like that. You'll notice the less anchors you use, generally the more finished the piece looks. So challenge yourself to try and use less and less anchors if you can. Now again, we're running into that same problem we did with the star where you can't really see it. So feel free to just make your best guess, and then we'll adjust it later. You can also drop the opacity on that and see through it, but for now, we're just going to do it this way. And then go back to that first point you made. Now we'll go in and adjust our points if we need to. Oops, double click. Move things around so it covers up that green area as much as possible. Nope, always forget to double click. There we go. That's pretty good. Okay, now we're going to do the puzzle piece. Now this one is a combination of straight and curved areas. So we're going to click and then click. And then click and hold. You could just click there, click and hold to create that curve. And we can just click again. Straight lines are very easy with the pen tool. It's the curved lines that tend to be more of the challenge. There we go. Let's see if I can do it like that. Not too shabby. Oh, I gotta guess again. I got really off on that one. Whoops, I should have held that down. Let's try that again. There we go. And then we can go up. So let me adjust that area there. Nothing wrong with making adjustments. I do that all the time. And so do a bunch of other designers. If you need to adjust the handles too, feel free. You just click on that anchor point Move the handle around. You can always stretch the angle out or the handle out too. Sometimes that's necessary. That's pretty close. All right, and then with this final one, this is where you're kind of putting everything you learned together to create like a little character. So I'm going to go through, we'll create the character's body first. Feel free to change colors or keep it the same color you've been using. It's going to be kind of a rounded bean-shaped body here. Try and keep the handles in the direction that you want your piece to travel. And again, try and use less anchor points than you think you might need. Okay, that's good. Now the body covers up the eyes, so now we're gonna have to move this over so we can go ahead and trace the eyes. So we just moved it over with the move tool there. And we're gonna just trace these eyes as best as we can. Whoops, that's a little off. Try that again. And match it up. And then I'm gonna change the color here from blue to white. We're gonna do the same thing with the other eye. Just if you need to go back, you just do Control Z. It's easy to forget to click and hold. There we go. Those last ones are a little off. One thing you could try, especially with a bunch of circles and things like this, so I'll just kind of quick show you. We have something called the curvature pen tool. So something like this might be even better because it kind of curves it for you. You'll see how it's kind of curving already. It's like it kind of knows you're just using curves. So you see that made my nice curve shape versus what I had right here. You know, comparing those two, I think I like the curvature pen tool a little better. So I'm just going to delete that. We'll just use the curvature pen tool for my eyes, just because it makes it a little better, I think. Anyways, that's pretty good. Okay, now I can move those eyes over to this guy, and we're going to do pupils. So once again, just like that circle before, click and hold, and then click and hold, and then click. We're going to fill that with black. Pretty close. Whoop, pretty close. Move that over there. Now the nice thing with this is I can just do Control C and then Control V and move it over there. All right, last part is the mouth. Click and drag. We'll click and hold. Click and hold, and then click. That is not the best, but it works. There is it. Pink. Oh, make sure I'm in the move tool. There we go. All right. Now I can zoom back out. And I can take this. I'm actually going to highlight it, click and drag around it. And that's how you can move multiple things. And I'll move my eye. Oops. Just have to make sure. The eye's there. There we go. And there it is. Zoom back out so we can see our work. So most of the green is covered up. We've got our new pen tool shapes there. And we're going to say File, Export, Export As. Change it to PNG. You can call it whatever you want. Click Export. And then you can upload that. We'll say high 300 ppi, which is it's parts per inch. Click OK. Or pixels per inch, I think. There we go. And then we will upload that to Google Classroom. Now, if you flew through that beginner pen tool, I want you to try the intermediate because you're going to get some more interesting shapes here. These ones are all fairly complicated down here. So if you can do these well, you will be a master of the pen tool. So once you're done, you'll upload it here, and then you'll move on to our official pen tool assignment.